Welcome, dear friends, to the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast hosted by three gentlemen for whom the very wheel itself bends around. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Bill, Rob, and Rich.
Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to the Taviren podcast. We have returned from a semi-hiatus. Rob was kind enough to give you guys an update on our counters, which I absolutely loved. I can't believe it was only 14 times that Lad called around a sheep herder. Only 14.
It's like a prize boxer who's like, I'm going to take this guy down in the first round. I'm just going to go for it.
I'm going to make sure you know exactly what you are, sheep herder.
By the way,
sheep herder.
You're a sheep herder.
Come on, man, I teach you how to use that thing.
Put the guns down, you sheep herder.
Now get upstairs and make me a bacon sandwich. You silly sheep herder.
All right, 10 seconds already off beat. Okay, back on point. Welcome to the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast. You know who Bill is. I am Rob. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome, one and all, to the Jamaican Landcast.
Oh my gosh. We already have like 2 or 3 subplots that we're working on fan fiction wise. We can't add more, dude.
I love it. Now I do. Sorry to call you out, Rob. Now, go ahead. You said there was only one mention of the wheel weaves as the wheel weaves.
I missed one.
I'm sure Moraine said it about 3 or 4 times during, I think, almost like the same bit you said, because you said I think during the story of Mount Ephron, I think Egwene's dad, Mr. Alvear, the tavern owner, Mayor Alvear. Sorry, I'm sure he says it, but I'm also sure Moraine says it to Lan like 2 or 3 times when people just kept popping out the barn.
Yeah, but that is straight. That was just like, she was like, yeah, that's just how the wheel turns. But it wasn't like the wheel weaves as the wheel will. I'll go back and look.
Yeah, it was. It may be like a fuzzy version of it.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it's just like Lan's like, no, Egwene can't come with us, and she's like, hey, the wheel weaves as the wheel weaves, and then suddenly Tom drops out of the hay from the hay loft, and I'm sure she goes, hey, yeah, I like Tom.
If the pattern dictates it.
Yeah, he's got a good looking moustache. He can come with us. The wheel weaves as the wheel weaves. And then I also think the same thing. I think she might say it again when Nynaeve pops up, but I might just be I might just be.
She might say something like all part of the pattern.
All part of the pattern. Yeah, but I kind of consider that all part of the same thing.
Well, then you're you know what? If you're going to get all technical on me there,
I know.
I just did air quotes, but obviously everybody saw that. But
oh, don't worry, I do that all the time. I always say, there'll be a link to the Discord below, and then every time I do it, I just did it then. I point down to my crutch, like I'm just sitting here in an office by myself.
Oh, by the way, happy podcasting day.
Oh, happy podcasting day to you too.
Yeah.
I think, although that was
yesterday
upon day of this recording.
this week we actually have content to speak about. We are at chapter 25. The Traveling People, the Tuatha'an.
The Tuatheron.
I like the way you. It's totally wrong, but I like the way you just tried to say it.
What? I'm sure that's how they said it on the audiobook.
I'm sure. Tuathathon.
Tuatheron.
That's right. I can't wait till we get into the dream world to have you try and pronounce that one.
I'm not even going to say it. That's always just going to be, Dreamland. Mr. Sandman, give me a dream.
So,
making Egwene the cutest thing that I've ever seen.
All right.
Yes. So what's this episode? Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Tinker? Yes. Tinker's still my baby.
Because that's the film I watched for my notes today. Was that not right?
Probably close enough. But we don't have any Apple iTunes reviews per se, but we do have a couple comments that we can speak about. Well, first off, let's go with the good news.
Go to good news, yeah.
One of our brand new Discord members, Tannis1977, actually gave us an iTunes-like review on Discord. It says, guys, love the podcast, lots of laughs. 4 stars. The one thing that irritates me is the things you guys get slightly off. For example, Chapter 1, when you guys referred to Emmons Field as the Two Rivers. Corrected later. Keep them coming. Looking forward to the next one. By the way, I agree with you that Tom is too important a character to cut. Thanks, Tanis. And I'm going to exonerate Bill. It was entirely me who got the Evanfield Two Rivers thing reversed. That was the one podcast where I could even show the page. I have like 2 lines of notes. I wasn't thoroughly prepared, and that was one of those. Hey, Bill, hey, let's record now. Okay, go talk.
Yeah, that was back in the day as well. When I wasn't on the show, I used to do all the editing for the show. And I remember sitting down to edit and going through the audio. And then when that bit came up and you two were both sort of falling over yourselves, I was just like, oh my God, come on. I was literally like face palming myself. Just like, oh, I can't believe I wasn't there. I would have just chastised the pair of you for like, come on, this is basic Wheel of Time.
Thanks for keeping it in the podcast though, so the rest of the world can know my stupidity.
Oh yeah, of course. But come on, the location of Emmons Field is that's the pattern 101, right? There we go. That's what we should have called our podcast, Pattern 101.
Stop it.
Someone else is going to steal that idea now.
Stop it. So thanks, Tanis, for the good thoughts, and we'll take the 4 stars.
Now, just to stop you here, Rob.
Go ahead.
Because I know the next bit is the comments that we got from YouTube.
Yes.
Now, generally, especially as we're diving into the Wheel of Time side of YouTube things, and we're posting our podcast out onto YouTube, and we're actually getting quite a bit of success with it as well. I'm quite surprised at the numbers of people listening to an hour-long podcast with a few basic pictures on YouTube. I honestly didn't think people did that. Yeah, well done, Tyler. So you people on YouTube listening, thank you very much. I am pleasantly surprised. I didn't think it would be as popular as it would. But yeah, thanks to Tyler for putting us out there onto YouTube. Mm-hmm. But also, unfortunately, with YouTube is kind of one of those problems you get where
dirty underbelly.
The comment section of YouTube generally tends to be a very nasty place. So I think in general, and especially because we'll probably get a lot of YouTube comments, we won't tend to go over them on the show that much. We will ask for positive feedback on YouTube. So if you do want to put a comment in below, please be positive. Tell us what we can do better.
We'll even take negative feedback if it is tastefully done and productive.
Yes. So one of the feedbacks we got was quite the rant on the castings.
Oof.
And we all know what a lot of people's opinions are on the fact that they went with quite a multicultural selection for the Emmonsfield 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that those people are, are what they are. So
yes.
I've said it before. I kind of always imagined them to be like people from Emmonsfield to be like the sort of people who live in Yorkshire in the UK, just hardened farmer type thing.
Farmer folk.
Yeah, or so like from Somerset. That's the general sort of consensus you get. Now,
yep.
I've spent a lot of time in Somerset. I know not every person down there is white. That just doesn't happen anymore because we live in a multicultural society.
Exactly.
And it's just, who cares, man? It's like, maybe it wasn't Robert Jordan's vision, but who cares? It's a TV show.
It's
just give a good actor a good opportunity. Yeah, exactly.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, so I'm not going to get into that. I don't really give a crap what colour a person's skin is. It doesn't matter anything to the story as long as the actor can act the role well.
Exactly.
I don't care. I do expect the AAL people though to have a nice tan to them.
Well, there's story reasons behind that.
Yeah, they spend a fair bit of time out in the sun, so I do expect them to have a tan. But if there's an albino white person in the show, I don't care. Playing an Iowa maiden.
No, yeah, I know, and we have knowledgeable staff on hand. Rafe and company know their shit, so it's not like he's just randomly grabbing whoever for whatever role.
Let's face it, Amazon are expecting a lot out of this show, so they're going to invest in it heavily. They're not going to put crap actors in, hopefully.
No.
And the other comment, which was just basically a dig in the face at us, calling us cheap opportunists, jumping on the wheel of, as they call it, the wheel of woke, which really made me laugh. Because
you got to give a little bit of credit, a little originality there.
Yeah, I like the wheel of woke. I thought that was hilarious. Because me and my wife, we're quite into being green. We're changing a lot of our habits and stuff to try and be plastic free and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that is always referred to as being woke.
You woke
kind
the
of in
planet.
like a negative way, but a funny negative way. And so my wife always goes, "Oh no, I've just been on this Facebook group and I realise I'm completely woke." And so when I saw Wheel of Woke, I thought, "Oh, that's hilarious." But yeah, I do want to point out that Rich has tried to read the series before, but kind of got lost in the middle. So this is an opportunity for Rich to get through the series. And I always wanted to start a Wheel of Time podcast before the TV show was out.
That's how we
I've
were.
read the series before, and bloody Rob here read the series in the 80s. So
I'm not that old. Stop with the 80s stuff.
Well, you started it. Come on. Did you start this series in the 80s?
The first book, I think, was published in 1990.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah.
So Rob's been reading this stuff. Rob's been reading this before it was even published.
I actually stood over Robert Jordan's shoulder as he was typing it and reading it as the words were coming out of him. Yes.
Yeah. No, change the word Conan for wheel. Okay, so Rob's been reading this, but Rob's been reading.
I started to read it. I guess when I first picked up Eye of the World, I'm going to ballpark and say maybe 8 or 9 books were out. Then I read it up until the slog, and I lost track and stopped. Then I found out Jordan had passed, and Sanderson picked up the series, and I started back at 1, and I was able to read it and time it just right that I finished 13 as A Memory of Light came out. So it was like a perfect.
So basically,
storm.
I feel like it's a bit of a stretch to think that we're jumping on the Wheel of Time bandwagon. This is something we've always been into, and we really just want to, get through it again.
And honestly, it may seem just me bullshitting, but honestly, the conversation with me and Bill was like, "Hey, you want to do a Wheel of Time podcast? Sure, let's do one." Like 10 minutes later, oh look, they're making a TV show. Oh, that's odd. It literally was like that.
Yeah. Well, because I'd set up the feed for the podcast back in December, and it was just like me, you, and Rich were discussing how we wanted to do it, what the format was going to be. We sort of rolled over a couple of months, and then we was like, "Yeah, let's do a pilot episode." As we did the pilot episode, like 2 days later, they announced the TV show.
Exactly.
We were like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" But also, yes,
it was great. Yeah, I know.
I've been banging on for a TV show for like 4 years.
I know. You can only watch the Billy Zane FXX promo so many times, right?
Yeah, I have actually watched it 3 times. I liked Billy Zane. The rest of it was crap. God, that scenery looked like you could push it over.
So, negative comments are welcome if productive, but if you're just spewing hate, we don't really have the time for that. So
if you hate imaginative like the Wheel of Woke, we'll have a good laugh at it.
As I called it in Discord, these two posts must have been reading some other series called The Wheel of Whack. That's just crazy. One other last little tidbit before we jump into news. Not that there's much news, but I kind of sparked some Twitter conversations. I don't know if you happen to catch that, Bill.
Yes, your dream castings for White Cloaks.
I teased it one time with it was just me and Rich, and I threw out 2 tweets. One was saying, "Here's one of my dream castings for White Cloaks," and it was a picture of Tom Felton, who plays Draco Malfoy from the Harry Potter series.
I think everyone's expecting that to be announced at some point.
Yep, that got a little bit of play on Twitter, but then I followed that up with saying, "This is my other dream cast for White Cloaks," and I forget the actor's name. I keep forgetting to look it up, but it was the guy who played Joffrey Baratheon from Game of Thrones, and that seemed to spark a lot of debate in the the White Cloak subsection of the Twitter of Time community.
Yeah, I don't think people are particularly positive on the idea of having Games of Thrones actors.
True,
because I think then you're linking the things together too much.
I know, but his character, and from what I'm told and from what I've heard, he's been blacklisted because he played that character so well, and he's actually he's a really good guy in real life.
But yeah, once you play the bad guy too well, that's it.
He did very well in that role, and that kind of smug elitist kind of attitude would transition well into White Cloaks, and the blonde hair didn't hurt either. So
yeah, all the white colours can't be blonde though.
Yeah.
That could be conceived as being slightly blondest.
Hey,
all you blondies out there, you're evil White Cloak.
You have blonde hair, you're probably evil.
So
just
do we have
kidding.
Is it no? But not really. Yeah, hang on, my daughter's got blonde hair.
So do my boys.
So, do we actually have any Wheel of Time news? I miss Narg.
I know, I do miss Narg. I mean, nothing. I mean, it's still kind of. I mean, they're either they started the film or they started to gather and sit down and read scripts. I love the one tweet I saw that was a compare and contrast. It was a picture of Rosamund's selfie with the whole cast. That was like their first day, and then below it was a picture of the Game of Thrones on their first day of shooting. It was kind of cool to see that.
I like the first picture from the scene of the Wheel of Time, which was a goat.
Oh, that's right, the goat. Oh, how can we forget the goat? Yes, the world's most famous goat.
Yeah, or the G-Mote, as I like to call him.
G-Mote, where are you? We miss you.
Oh, he's on the Wheel of Time set.
Yeah, Rafe picked him right out. But I totally forgot that is news. That's very newsworthy. The goat heard around the world.
I like that.
The only thing that would have topped it is if he found a pack horse and said, "I think we found Bella."
I can't wait to find out who's been casted as Bella. That's going to be the big thing for me. That's going to seal it whether I'm going to watch the show or not. If it's a poor casting for Bella, I'm not in. I want a nice shaggy mare.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Bella's look is supposed to be like, just like a farmer, just worker bee, rough around the edges, not like a lean, pristine racing horse. It's supposed to be
all like the really long hair going over the hooves.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff, I don't want her to look like a big old war horse because I
that
expect Mandrab to look like a big old horse. Mandab.
Yeah, so it needs to be a farmer's horse.
Yes. Oh, man. Anyway, well, should we get into the chapter discussion?
Yes. Chapter 25, The Traveling People.
The traveling people. So
on the road again. Okay.
Yeah. I'm on the road again. we always think of different songs, though, don't we?
I go with Willie Nelson. You went with Metallica's cover of Bob Seger. So
on the road again. Here I go. Turn the page.
That's pretty good. You got into it there.
Oh man, I just love that. I'm gonna have to listen to it afterwards. So anyway, we left Matt sitting on a boat polishing his dagger.
Polishing, yes. Yeah, I like the polishing word better.
Yeah, he was playing with his dagger. Polishing definitely has a second meaning over here in the UK.
Well, it kind of does here too, but.
But speaking of which, this chapter starts with Bella plodding along, keeping an eye on the wolves that are sort of tracking alongside the gang.
So we got with Perrin and Egwene and Elias and the wolves who were Perrin is starting to cope with the fact that he can locate the wolves some way, somehow. He always knows where they are. If you can't see him, he knows Hopper's over there, Wind and Dapple there. He knows their locations without having to see them, and he's starting to just kind of get used to that.
And we also get a rare moment here with Egwene, where she gets stared down by Eyeless.
Oh yeah, but taking turns.
Yeah, she tries. Yeah, they want to take. She wants everyone to take turns on the horse, and it's very rare in these books that Egwene ever gets sort of like overruled by someone.
Yes,
because she's such a strong character. And yes, Isla says, "Nope, I just want to walk." And she's like, "No, we're all going to take turns." And he literally just stares at her. She goes, "Okay, you can walk."
Yeah, but he also gives her the point. I don't think Bella would. It's unnatural that Elias would be on a horse, and Bella could sense that.
Yes.
So he's like,
I think Bella looks at Eyeless as more than a wolf than a man.
Yes. So he's like, you don't want me on Bella. That's not good.
Yeah, this isn't going to work out. But Perrin can sense all the wolf around, and he also gives us a description of the fact that his dreams since discovering the wolves and Eyeless have been kind of just normal, safe dreams. But whenever he is dreaming, there's a wolf sitting there. And it feels as natural as anything to him until he wakes up. He thinks, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah, well, it's like he'll have a normal dream, but somewhere in the corner, a wolf will just be kind of staring off into nothing. Weirded out at first, but then he's like, "Are they protecting me?" It's like, are they looking for something protecting?
Yeah, he senses something going on there. But the wolves are kind of helping protect Perrin's dreams.
Yep.
From the dreams of being chased by a man with his head on fire.
Yeah.
Telling you he's going to eat your soul. He also goes into the fact that they've been eating a lot better since they've joined Eyeless and the wolves, because they've actually been able to catch things for them. And Eyeless, I think he shot an eagle out of the sky.
Well, it's funny because they don't realize it yet, but they're part of a pack.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. They think they're just kind of going along, being led to the next spot. No, they've been inducted into they're in the pack.
And it takes them 3 days. 3 days of wandering, and they finally, they're eating a bit better as part of the pack, until they get to a spot when they're just looking to sort of camp down for the night, and then 3 dogs burst out of the bush.
Big, massive mastiffs.
Mastiffs,
yes. And then growling and just kind of, don't fuck with us. We're protecting. We don't do it.
And Perrin, who's the sensible person that he is, he doesn't pull out his axe. He pulls out his sling, thinking, good couple of aimed rocks, and these dogs are going to be on their way. But Eyeless is the one who's like, no, we don't need weapons here. Nope. He just puts his finger in the air and goes, and then puts his finger down to the floor, and the dogs just sit down.
Yes. They basically were like, oh, they become just big old puppies.
Yep. And Eyeless goes, see, no need for weapons. Or as obviously as me and Rich described Eyeless, a rough-looking tramp.
Tramps and Trollocs. Oh my god.
And this is where we get introduced to the Twaffwan. Twaffwan? I can't say it. I heard it.
My inner monologue always said Tuathaan, but I mean
Tuathaan. It's like two for one. Yeah. I've heard it so many times on the audiobook, but I can't.
And I don't know how much canon the audiobook is.
Well, I know because you've got 2 different people reading the book, depending on whose perspective it is. And I know the audiobooks are quite famous for words changing as it goes on.
So all right, I'm looking at the book right now in the back glossary. Tuathaan.
Tuathaan. Tuathaan. Right, there you go, people.
Yep.
Diction with Bill and Rob.
Use the index.
But from now on, we'll just call them Tinkers.
The colourful people.
Yes, the colourful people. And Egwene, being the racist little girl that she is, she goes on about how the Tinkers are all thieves. And the reason
that's the story that gets
banded around.
Yeah, we'll come to find out why that stereotype is when we meet some of the other people in camp, and how easy it is to be wooed by them. So
yeah, because the main one is that they think the Tinkers come and steal your children.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that a little bit.
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
Do you know the song?
I do.
Uh-oh.
It's Turn the Page by Metallica.
Turn the page. Well, you know what? That kind of works into the way of the leaf. Yeah. If something's being violent to you, just turn the page.
Just turn the page. Yeah, so there you go. All the Tinkers need to do is meet me.
and Metallica. Yes. Although they wouldn't like the first album of Metallica much.
Why? What,
kill them all?
No, that's the IEL.
That's the way the parent.
They love that album.
All right, I'm sorry. All right.
Anyway, yeah.
Go ahead.
Enough of that. So yes, as I've put here in my notes, the colours, it burns my eyes.
Yes. I mean, we get some good artwork out of it, but that's something that I think Rafe and company will have fun with if they keep the Tinkers in the storyline. That's going to be a good scene. They're going to have a lot of fun with that scene. I can see it coming.
What I want to do, Rob, after we finished recording today's episode, because we don't talk spoilers on this one, I want to talk to you about the song as a kind of a post-credit spoiler chat.
We can try.
I can try.
And we'll see a while for me once I get to those later books. It's my memory. I mean, come on, if I can mess up Emmons Field and Two Rivers, and you're going to ask me to recall something I read like 5 years ago.
Nah, you'll be fine. We'll just have a very quick chat about the song. It'll be 2 minutes.
Yes, sir.
But yes, I've decided to do it as kind of like a post-credit thing, because I just decide these things and make you rich go along.
We're doing it, and okay.
But there was a really nice bit just before they entered the camp, which I just wanted to mention on, where it shows how sort of Perrin's leadership skills and how he's really good at reading people. Because Eyeless is the one who he tells Egwene and Perrin that these are Tinkers. He corrects Egwene, saying they're not going to take the children. Not that you've got any. And but he's the one who's convincing Perrin and Egwene that they should go into the Tinkers camp. But Perrin recognises that Eyeless kind of feels uneasy about it. And he goes,
Yes.
okay, we'll go, unless there's any reason why we shouldn't. And like Ilas kind of just shrugs it off and goes, no, come on, let's go in. And, we find out later on that Ilas does have some strange history with these people,
Mhm.
but we don't find it out in this chapter.
No.
So Perrin at this point, there's the foreshadowing there. Perrin can read that Ilas isn't 100% comfortable, but at the same time is comfortable enough to go into the camp. And yes, as they go into the camp, they see all these people playing music and dancing and having fun, and children playing with the bull mastiffs running around. And then suddenly the music just stops.
It's like
everyone notices these people have got past their guard dogs with a quick whistle. Give a little whistle. Anyway, enough Pinocchio.
Oh my goodness.
And yes, one of the Tinkers comes up to the gang and says, "You are welcome to our fires. Do you know the song?" And Ilas responds with a load of jargon saying basically, "Nah, I've got no idea what the song is."
Don't know, but thanks all the same.
But yes, this is a traditional greeting. And we get the explanation that the Mardi, which is another name for the Tinkers.
Okay.
I was just like, I had to listen to that bit 3 times. Like, yeah, he definitely says the Mardi. And it's just like, oh, we're supposed to know what that is?
I asked Rich if he knew if I asked Rich who the Cormor was, he was, I don't know who that is. I'm like, okay, just asking.
Yeah, so the Tuatha one, the Tinkers, the Mardi,
the traveling folk,
the traveling folk, the leaf people, all that sort of junk. But yes, apparently they've been seeking the song since the breaking of the world, and they believe the song will bring paradise.
Yes.
And we'll get more into that in our post-credit chat.
And we also get our start. Ryan, who's the village leader, starts to give them a little history in something called the Way of the Leaf.
Indeed, but I think this is comes after Amaram comes to dinner.
Aram.
Aram. Oh, Aram.
Aram. Aram.
Yeah. I swear, right. I just can't pronounce it.
you were thinking Final Fantasy IX.
Oh yes, Amaram. Ah, God. Oh, Amaranth. Oh, God, most useless character ever. Anyway, yes, he's a smarmy little git.
Oh, I hate Aram.
He just walks up to the fire and goes, I've waited for the first rose of spring and found it at my grandfather's fire while looking at Egwene. Oh,
so I have a nickname for Aram. He's Mr. Player P. Player.
Player P. Player.
He is the player of all players.
He is.
And the best part about that dynamic is, he's all smug and gives Perrin these winning looks of like, I'm taking your woman. And Perrin's just like, I don't fucking care. Go ahead. I mean, it's like, I'm not with her like that. Whatever.
She ain't my woman player.
No, whatever.
But yes. But yeah, when he comes over, this is when we kind of get the explanation of the Way of the Leaf.
Yes,
which is kind of like a cross between a lot of the beliefs of Christianity, like turn the other cheek and all that sort of stuff, as well as Buddhism.
But yeah, I think more even Buddhism than Christianity. But yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the principle of Christianity of when someone hits you, you turn the other cheek.
Yes,
that's kind of what the woman at the fire, I can't remember her name now. She says about that. She says, if someone hits me, I'll ask them, why did they hit me? If they hit me again, I'll just run away. But basically, there is no excuse for violence. If someone's Perrin tries to argue the point with them, saying, what if someone's trying to harm you or harm your family or steal your stuff or even murder you? And she's like, well, you just run away.
Yep, there is zero. It's a zero tolerance. I don't think tolerance is the right word, but there's zero reason.
It is the right word. Tolerance will not be tolerated.
Yeah, zero reason at all to ever raise a hand at anyone for any reason ever.
No reason at all. And that is the basics of the Way of the Leaf. I think a bit further down the line in the books, we might get a more in depth.
Yeah, and then Elias kind of he starts up a little bit with Rain and starts to argue a little bit. That's where you get a little bit of history of Elias and the Tuatha.
Because Rain and Elias know each other.
Yeah,
yeah, there's a little bit of history there. They have a bit of back and forth where they argue. Obviously, Ilas runs with wolves. He kills animals. He does violence.
He does violent things.
And Rain doesn't. um,
And
But
each
yeah, they
know
give,
of the other's history, and each accepts the time that they have together, but they're both very much against their beliefs.
but I like the explanation of the axe when it comes to violence. So she says about when you use an axe to chop down a tree, the axe is doing violence on the tree. So you've got to imagine that you are the axe, and the axe is kind of your soul. As you hit the tree over and over again, and you hit other trees, gradually the axe starts to dull, and that is kind of
Your
the
soul.
point. Yeah, that's kind of the point. The more violence you do, the more you wear your soul down, and it's difficult to bring yourself back to being how it was originally. So I really like that explanation, because I'm really like, I don't get into violence.
No, I try to.
Only
My family's at
every other
risk.
Sunday do I go to Fight Club. So, but we don't talk about that.
Although
Um,
although if you've been reading a lot of tweets from our president, there's fight clubs coming down the pike apparently. But
is it?
oh, sorry,
I've given up care.
I'm not going to go political, but our president just can't stop saying stupid things.
I tell you what, we've just put someone in there, our prime minister's seat, who could probably give him a run for his money when it comes to saying stupid things. So don't you worry about that.
Okay, I apologize.
You thought,
I'm
you
not
thought
going
it
to go
could get any
political.
worse? We will try.
But yeah, sometimes I wish the way the leaf can work its way into the White House. But
we can do better. Boris is a bit of a absolute moron. Anyway, this is just the problem we have in this country with Brexit at the moment. It's just the only people who are going to take the job at the top are the biggest morons we've got.
Well, I'll say this. Apparently, Trump is being. There's impeachment hearings going on, and
Yep.
he may or may not have threatened civil war if he gets impeached. Oh my God!
God,
Why?
yeah.
Why?
Another civil war, just what you guys need.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's been 150 years. I think it's time we had another one.
Yeah, come on, let's beat each other up.
Oh my God!
Peace and love, people.
Yeah, I know. Way to leave.
Wade Leaf, that's what we are. Welcome to Wade Leaf Cast. Anyway,
All we
my
are-
fire is yours.
All we are is dust in the wind, and then turn a page.
We have. Speaking of which, I need to turn a page on my notes.
This is a one pager for me.
So, Rob, I've got 3 pages then.
Oh,
My page
must
is
write
small.
big.
I do. So, Rob, my
Yes.
fire is yours, my friend, and I have a story to tell.
Tell us of your story.
So, 2 years ago, some of our people, the Tinkers, were crossing the Isle Waste.
I thought no
And
one was
they
allowed
were-
to cross the waste.
Well, some people are unaffected by crossing the waste. The Isle don't mind them crossing, such as Gleeman, Tinkers, although they won't go near Tinkers, but they won't also attack Tinkers, which is strange.
Well, that's strange. I wonder why that is.
And certain trusted peddlers are also allowed to interact.
And their
with it.
noses.
Yeah, and their noses. Yeah, well, the noses arrive 3 days before they do. So, and they were crossing quite close to the Blights. And a lot of the young maidens of the spear, as they are called, so women who take up the spear to become part of the Ale warriors, travel to the waste to kill Trollocs as part of their testing to become maidens of the spear.
Yes.
And these Tinkers who were crossing the waste happened to come across one surviving maiden who had crawled her way down from the Blight. They followed her trail of blood, but only found more dead maidens, but triple the number of maidens of dead Trollocs. And this one maiden, who clearly looked at the Tinkers with disgust and hatred in her eyes, had a message for them.
What was the message?
I couldn't write it down quick enough. I got the first bit. Leaf Blighter seeks to blind the eye of the world, and then Sight Blinder seeks to destroy the serpent. Is that right?
If not, we'll be told.
Yeah.
So we get our first mention
a very strange cryptic message
of the Fair Derais Mai.
Yes, the Maidens of the Spear. Well done. I don't think I could have said that. Excuse me. Yes, and so the lady telling the story. I've forgotten the name again, Rob.
Oh, is that Rain's? I'm
Rain's wife.
Rain's
Yeah.
wife. Isla.
Isla, yeah. So Isla tells a story, and she says, first of all, this is kind of like one of the first interactions between Aiel and Tinkers, and she said Leaf Blinder is one of the names for the Dark One himself.
I have the
and so
quote
is
here if you want me
Sideburn-
to
Sideburn.
get this straight from the book.
Yes, because I believe they also call the Tinkers the Lost Ones, and that's the first time they hear that that's what they are referred to by the Aiel. So go on, I'll let you read out the quote.
So, Leaf Blighter means to blind the eye of the world, Lost One. He means to slay the great serpent. Warn the people, Lost One. Sightburner comes. Tell them to stand ready for he who comes with the dawn. Tell them. And then she died.
Oh, so many spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of foreshadowing there.
Mhm.
And as Isla explains, they can't actually pass on the message to the Aiel because the Aiel won't talk to him. And so,
kind of a bad loophole there.
So the story has been told between Tinkers and Tinker clans, and they're gradually trying to spread the word to see if anyone can make head or tail of it. And so they ask Ilas because, and Ilas cuts them off at this point.
Yes.
So we don't know why Rain and Isla wanted to ask Ilas this question, but he kind of cuts it off, and they go, "Well, because you're into strange things."
You're a strange bloke, and it's a strange thing. So hey,
yeah, you're into kinky bum sex with wolves, so you might have heard of this.
I'd expect as much from Rich, but not you, sir.
Him and Hopper. Oh man, why do you think he's always hopping around? Yeah, and this is the point where I think we forgot to mention that Egwene and Aram buggered off to eat with Aram's mum and do some dancing.
Yeah, I think Isla comments that he never comes over, then all of a sudden he's here hanging out. I wonder why.
Yeah, because of Egwene.
Yeah,
him and Egwene basically run off to have a little dance around the village, and then at this point she now comes back, and Perrin goes, "Did you have a nice time?" And she bursts into tears.
Yeah, she needed him to just say the words that Matt and Rand and the others are alive. She's like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, just say it, just say the words, please. And he's like, yeah, I think they're still alive. Thank you. And gives him a kiss on the cheek and goes to bed.
Well, this is so Rob, 2 points here.
Go ahead.
2 points, right? So when she comes back, she's happy she's happy. She's had a fun time, and he says to her, well, I'm glad, I hope you had fun dancing. And then she bursts out into tears and grabs him and sort of cries onto his shoulder. At this point, he says to himself, "Oh man, Rand would know what to do."
That's right. We get Perrin's jealous of Rand's game.
Yeah, so that's one to add on to the list.
Yep. And I think I actually had put that in the list. I think I had that in the last.
I thought you did. I thought you jumped.
I did.
Once
again, premature.
Yeah. And so she then says, tell me they're alive. And then he tells her that they're alive. And then she sort of stops crying, says thank you, walks off. And then he goes, Rand might understand women, but I don't. So we get two.
Oh, you want to count that as two? Okay.
Yeah, that's a double up, my friend.
We can count that
there's
as
one
a double
before
up.
and there's one after. So Perrin, he tries to drift off to sleep while trying to figure out the puzzle of the strange message from the dying maiden of the spear.
Mm-hmm.
And all that awaits him in his dreams is wolves. And that brings a close to the chapter.
End scene.
Wolf boy.
Good old wolf boy. I mean, there's a lot of foreshadowing, and
I feel like that's our catchphrase. There's a lot of foreshadowing.
Well, this is actually a good chapter. No offense, Rich, but I'm glad you're not here, because this is a good chapter where you and I can talk, because we would have had to kind of stifle some things. You're like, it's curious that Tinkers and the Tuatha'an are able to cross into Isle country without issue.
But then we also find out that peddlers, as long as they're trusted, are able to go in without issue.
Yep.
And but at this point in time, we don't really understand why there would be an issue going into the Waste. We haven't found out about certain events.
We just know that there's this group of people called the Isle, and they live in a place called the Waste, and they're Tam.
I think Tam mentions it during his fever dream. I think he mentions the
correct.
The tree and stuff that happens.
Avendoloidera or Avendosora.
Tree of life, whatever it is. He mentions that thing.
Yes.
And there's some scuffle with the Aiel over it.
Yes.
But that's all we've had so far. And again, it's a really small, vague reference to something that happens in like chapter 8.
So more to come. Like the whole chapter is just stuff that's more to come.
But it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting things going on, and I really like Eyeless when he's in the books. I like his character.
I do.
He's so gruff and like wolf-like.
Yep.
I really hope they get Hulk Hogan to play him.
Oh my god!
Come on, who else is better to play the Wolf Brother?
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah. All they say is that he's got a beard. They don't mention how old he looks.
Come on, brother. Hopper's over here. Come on, brother. We gotta go check it out.
Come on, where's Dapple? Yes.
I don't know your damn song, brother. Oh boy.
Right. So anyway.
So that will take us into Readings
with Robert.
And now, the Taviren present to you Readings with Rob.
Chapter 25. The Traveling People. Lying with his shoulders propped on one of the logs around the fire, Perrin tried puzzling out the Isle woman's message, but it made no more sense to him than it had to Rain or Elias. The Eye of the World. That had been in his dreams, more than once, but he did not want to think about those dreams. Elias now. There was a question there he would like answered. What had Rain been about to say about the bearded man, and why had Elias cut him off? He had no luck with that either. He was trying to imagine what Isle girls were like. Going into the Blight, where only waters went that he had ever heard, fighting Trollocs. When he heard Egwene coming back, singing to herself. Scrambling to his feet, he went to meet her at the edge of the firelight. She stopped short, looking at him with her head tilted to one side. In the dark, he could not read her expression. "You've been gone a long time," he said. "Did you have fun?"
"We ate with his mother,"
she answered.
"and then we danced and laughed. It seems like forever since I danced."
"He reminds me of Will Alcine. You always had sense enough not to let Will put you in his pocket."
"Aram is a gentle boy who is fun to be with,"
she said in a tight voice.
"He makes me laugh."
Perrin sighed. "I'm sorry. I'm glad you had fun dancing." Abruptly she flung her arms around him, weeping on his shirt. Awkwardly he patted her hair. Rand would know what to do, he thought. Rand had an easy way with girls, not like him, who never knew what to do or say. "I told you I'm sorry, Egwene. I really am glad that you had fun dancing. Really."
"Tell me they're alive,"
she mumbled into his chest. "What?" She pushed back to arm's length, her hands on his arms, and looked up at him in the darkness.
"Rand and Matt, the others, tell me they are alive."
He took a deep breath and looked around uncertainly. "They are alive," he said finally.
"Good."
She scrubbed at her cheeks with quick fingers.
"That is what I wanted to hear. Good night, Perrin. Sleep well."
Standing on tiptoe, she brushed a kiss across his cheek and hurried past him before he could speak. He turned to watch her. Ilya rose to meet her, and the two women went into the wagon talking quietly. Rand might understand it, he thought, but I don't. In the distant night, the wolves howled, the first thin sliver of the new moon towards the horizon, and he shivered. Tomorrow would be time enough to worry about the wolves again. He was wrong. They were waiting to greet him in his dreams.
That was Readings with Rob. If there's a passage in an upcoming chapter you wish to have read on the podcast, simply tweet us at TavirenPod with your request.
And that was Readings with Rob. So, Rob, what did you talk about?
I talked about, I think, you know what I did? I took the end scene where Egwene and Perrin, where Egwene had just broken off with Aram, went to go see Perrin and kind of broke down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was a good choice.
Yeah, some good character building between the two of them. So I think I went with that.
Especially as we read out the maiden quote. That'll be the only other bit
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Well, I try to pick sections that have character develop, like the actual main characters. I mean, I don't have a voice in place for Isla, so me saying something very important as far as that passage in what would be Isla's voice probably wouldn't be prudent. I stuck to my guns. Yeah, I took the end of the chapter where Egwene and Perrin kind of need to reassure themselves everything's going to be all right.
All right. Okay. So, just want to give a quick plug out to the network. So, we are part of the We Can Make This Work Probably network. We've got lots of great shows on the network, but I particularly want to point out a podcast called Base FSF, which is the best animated shows ever. ... so far, presented by Troy and MC. It's a really good show. They listen to they watch the first couple of episodes of a animated TV program, as can be nominated by you, the general public. And at the moment, they're just finishing off a series, and I believe the next series coming up is going to be for Attack on Titan.
Funny you should mention that.
Funny I should mention that because I have an Attack on Titan podcast with my friend Tyler called The Coordinate. So yeah, if you want to check out those two shows, they're both on the network. You can go to probablywork.com and you can check out all of our great shows there. There's loads of stuff on there, including actually, I don't think you're on the website yet for Mario Talk, are you?
Not officially part of the network, just because some of those podcasts are considered mature content, and I'm
oh yes,
a podcast with children.
Yeah, but your son swears so much in it.
that damn 12-year-old, 13-year-old.
But yes, check out our shows, and yeah, if you want to reach out to us, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at TarvrienPod, and you can reach us on our Discord as well. Links below. Pointing downwards as always. Point. Join us on our Discord. It's a growing community, and we're having lots of fun over there. And yeah, I just want to get the love from you guys. Give us some iTunes reviews. Give us some reviews on any podcatching apps that you use.
YouTube. Don't forget, we can also use YouTube.
Oh yeah, and if you want to send us crap, and insults and be racist, put it in the YouTube comments.
No, by crap we mean positive energy, good zen, and the way of the leaf thoughts.
Yes, we all want to follow the way of the leaf. Peace and love to everybody.
So Bill,
all that hippy dippy crap.
So Bill, next week we get to see the Grand White Bridge.
The Grand White Bridge. The Grand Old White Bridge of York. He had 10,000 men.
Is that a Metallica song too?
No, that's just because I've got a 2-year-old who I sing lots of nursery rhymes to. It's just instantly now stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
That ain't changing, dude.
I almost want to say fuck you. But yes, we got a nice chunky chapter in Whitebridge. It's 52 minutes long on the audio.
It's a good chapter. Yeah, I got like a page and a half of notes on it for me, and that's a lot.
Yep, but after that we'll have a double up.
More
so Shelter from the Storm.
You're killing me with the double ups.
Well, Footprints in the Air is only 20 minutes long, and the other one's 30 minutes. So it makes about the same distance, about the same amount of time as Whitebridge. So
you just tell me I have to work harder, faster.
Work harder, work faster. Stop polishing your dagger. Cool.
You'll go blind.
All right, then, people. That's enough from the pattern this week. I'm about to get weaved out and back to work.
Yeah, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go dancing with Aram.
I'm going to go dancing with Egwene then. I get a hot one. All right. Over and out, people.
Take care. Bye.
Now that our heroic trio have left the familiar confines of the two rivers, they find themselves being chased by all sorts of denizens of the Dark One. Our party has been scattered, and the boys separated from Mograine and Lan. Let us hope that luck, or some other force, can keep them safe. Bill? Billiam! Put that dagger down! You have no idea where in creation that's been. No, Rich. I don't have an extra cloak with me. Maybe if you didn't ride your horse straight into the Arenelle, you wouldn't have this problem, For crying out loud, Robert, I know that girl from Berlon said weird things to you, but you shouldn't let it get under your skin so much. What are you, 11? You all remind me of a younger version of myself. Why, back in Watch Hill, I would...
Podcasters Assemble! Podcasters Assemble Season 2 is a hype/rewatch podcast that's reviewing every movie in the Star Wars Skywalker saga and a countdown to the release of Episode 9. As with Season 1, where we covered all of the films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we want to hear from you about your favorite things in the Star Wars films. You can submit audio for just one of the movies in the Skywalker saga, or you can send in an audio file for every single one. Talk about what you love about the film, your favorite light side moment versus dark side moment, or your favorite music cue, your favorite quote, or your favorite ship or vehicle in the movie. If you go to probablywork.com and look for Podcasters Assemble, you'll find these instructions as well as a link on where to go to submit your audio. In order to make sure we have time to edit everything, we're looking for you to submit your audio a couple days before. So the deadline for the first episode is going to be October 20th. And then it's weekly after that. So for episode 2, it's October 27th and so on from there. Again, you can find the schedule and all of this information at probablywork.com. Whether you're a podcaster, a YouTuber, a streamer, or just a fan of Star Wars, we want to hear from you. So head to probablywork.com or look up @CastersAssemble on Twitter and share your thoughts about Star Wars.
Give me a check.
Check.
All right, I like it.
Check it out.
Check.
What's it all about? Gonna turn these motherfuckers upside down
Uh,
with the Beastie Boys.
no.
Yes.
Sleep till London.
No, sleep till where Rob lives in the USA.
You'll never know.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
@probablywork
For more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.